Hi, everyone. My name is Max Claps, and I'm the Research Director of IDC Government Insights. It's great to be here with you for this discussion around the future of public service, or as we call it, the next normal of efficient, trusted, highly responsive, inclusive, and convenient public services. And why are we talking about this right now? Well, although everyone, even at the highest policymaking level in Europe and beyond, have realized that data and digital are key enablers of transformation, are key enablers of delivering on the promise of better outcomes for the citizens. The how to achieve that objective, how to make public services truly citizen-centric is still a learning process. There are many forward-thinking government authorities that have embraced technology, that have changed the underlying processes, but there are still quite a few of the public sector entities that we speak with on a daily basis at IDC that have to make the transition. So the long-term vision is set, but it's important to translate that long-term vision into strategic priorities. Because now more than ever, with the critical funding that has been made available or is being made available through the recovery and resilience plan throughout Europe, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, really, for public services to modernize and to become truly citizen-centric, right? And whether they have to improve the underlying infrastructure or upgrade and nurture the skills or migrate some technologies to the cloud or make the technology-enabled transformation not only digital by default, but also green by default, it doesn't really matter unless all of those things are brought together and aligned with that vision of citizen centricity. And why is that important? It's because a lot of the investments that have gone into e-government and then joined up government and then smart government and then digital government brought the public sector to a certain level of maturity in terms of providing services online, in terms of enabling some channel shift. But more often than not, they have not thought of the entire citizen experience journey, right? It's about building that 360-degree view of the citizen. It's about identifying segments of, for example, vulnerable citizens or businesses, small and medium businesses that need support with their tax obligations, and making sure the entire public administration is geared to make the bureaucracy invisible. And it's able to deliver innovative services in an agile manner, like other industries have already started to do. And on this slide, we're comparing it with financial services. So again, the high-level senior executives in government, like Tom Reed, the chief executive of the UK Government Digital Service, have realized that, but how to make it happen, it's quite a challenge. And it all must start with the citizen, right? It's not a matter of whether to invest in technology or whether the public sector has the money to invest in technology. The real question is, how can the public sector turn the technology investments into value, into outcomes that matter for citizens, right? So improving the performance of public infrastructure and services for the sake of technology enhancements doesn't necessarily align with the expectations or the elevated expectations of citizens, looking at their preferences, circumstances, life events. It's only by bringing them together through the enhancements and the impact on societal outcomes that the performance and the expectations can be brought together. And what do we mean by societal outcomes? Well, one could start with the outcomes and the KPIs defined by the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or by looking at any other standard practices, citizen satisfaction surveys that various countries and institutions are tracking. It's important that it is about outcomes and it's not inputs and outputs, right? It's a matter of measuring how to make a change, to make an impact. And then aligning that with the potential opportunities that technology and data bring in, right? Technology and data nowadays enable to create digitally immersive experiences for citizens and businesses. They enable to share and analyze data in more creative ways, but there's often a lot of data in public sector that is not translated into insights and intelligence. So it's important to take that perspective. It's about thinking how to enable the civil servants, the individual worker, to do the job in a more productive manner while feeling satisfied and happy about how they contribute to enhancing outcomes for the citizens. And it's about making sure that technologies like hybrid cloud can be leveraged for the sake of agility and scalability while wrapping everything into security and trusted way of interacting and making the services resilient. And the connective tissue between these two realities of the societal outcomes and the promises of technology is what we call the next normal of efficient, trusted, highly responsive, inclusive, and convenient public services. It's only through that holistic transformation that European government executives can make it happen. And if we look a little bit deeper into the technology trends that are underpinning this transformation, it's very clear that many in Europe and beyond are starting, are progressing, are really realizing some of these benefits in terms of delivering services more proactively, making the bureaucracy invisible, in terms of sharing data with the ecosystem. Think of tax agencies and how they're collecting data from employers, insurance companies, and banks to provide pre-completed tax declaration forms. It's about empowering the workers and the civil servants, not only in terms of new collaborative tools, but also in terms of intelligent automation of some of the more repetitive tasks. It's about trust, right? Zero trust architecture, but more broadly, topics like digital sovereignty are very much top of mind. And last but not least, it's the agility, scalability, and environmental sustainability of the computing infrastructure. And that is the point where I'd like to delve a little bit deeper, right? When you think of, at a very high level, the enterprise architecture of a government agency, you have this digital transformation path in terms of the services for the citizens, in terms of the data sharing, in terms of empowering the civil servants. But those are made possible by new architectural paradigms, right? So cloud is not important in and of itself, as in some remote centralized resources. Cloud is important because it enables government to apply things like microservices, API integration, containerization, and DevOps that at the same time empower them to reduce costs of deploying new services, but most importantly, speed up, react fast to new regulatory requirements, to new programs that governments are implementing. And at the infrastructure layer, that means there's quite a lot of orchestration and automation across the whole continuum of cloud to core to edge that needs to happen. And we see that they want to drive the benefits, and to drive the benefits, they're investing in some of these architectural constructs at the platform level, and they're investing in automation and orchestration of solution. And that is across the board. So there's an appetite for these new types of capability. Of course, it's not only about the technology, it's also about, I mentioned it earlier, an holistic approach to change that includes the organization, the competencies, the capabilities, the trusted engagement with the citizens, and possibly the most complicated, but also potentially beneficial one, engaging with the ecosystem in new ways, sharing data applications and operations in an agile manner so that new service delivery models can be identified and launched. And interestingly enough, I was talking with the Vice Minister for Digital Development of a fast emerging country like Kazakhstan 2 weeks ago. And he said, during the COVID emergency, we found ourselves in a situation where the one-stop shop government portal was almost a bottleneck. And we had to look at the ecosystem to deliver some of the services. So for instance, they partnered with banks to disperse welfare payments directly into the citizens' bank accounts. So that ecosystem collaboration holds great promises, but it's quite complicated to get right. So in essence, to accelerate the citizen-centric transformation, it's important that governments focus on the outcomes and impact, and they demonstrate to taxpayers that technology can improve their quality of life. And to do so, they need to leverage the vast richness of data that they have, but translate that data into insights and intelligent decision-making. It's the important next step. It is about embracing not only new services and new tools like cloud per se, but thinking of hybrid heterogeneous cloud environment as the enabler of scalability, agility, and control and orchestration. It is about investing in the people and the capacity and the competencies that the civil service, both the IT competencies and the non-IT experts have to have in this new environment, and then constantly managing change and striving for improvement and holistic transformation. Well, thank you very much for listening. Hopefully I gave you some food for thought for your next planning cycle, for your current decisions, and I'll be happy to get more questions as a follow-up. Thank you very much.